Hey guys, this is Nina with Get Right Nina, and I wanted to make a video today for you guys. And really, honestly, the video is for myself as well, because single moms, a lot of times, whether we're single by divorce, single by widowhood, and nowadays there's a trend where women are choosing to be single parent. Why? I have no clue. I mean, I guess I can understand it. If you're at a certain age where maybe you see all your friends married, or if you want someone to share your love with and you feel you have so much love to give and you're not married yet, there's not a long list of Johns lined up. I can see doing that. And I think it's a blessing if you know all that comes with it, because there's a child that is lacking a parent. So to take a parent or a person that's lacking the love of a child and to complete this puzzle, I think is awesome. And it's a gift from God when done in the right context. So power to you if you are a single parent by choice and you have your life together and you're ready to share it with someone and a child is your choice. I think that's awesome, because there's people who are choosing pets and there's nothing wrong with that, but to choose a human life is an awesome way to give back love. But this video is about deadbeat dads specifically. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because a lot of times women, we talk about deadbeat fathers. And you have two different types of deadbeats. You have the deadbeat who's never been any good, and you have the deadbeat who fell off. They're both ineffective, and the children suffer at both expenses or both extremes. But I specifically want to talk to women about the deadbeat that fell off, and also the deadbeat that, or the engine that never did. Forget the engine that could, the man that never did. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because we a lot of times will call men deadbeat, when the reality is we failed to choose wisely the caliber of person to join our gene pool with. And I had a huge talk with myself about forgiving myself for my choices, and about why it's important that instead of us as women being bitter and talking about men being deadbeats, why it's actually more important to forgive ourselves and to forgive the man that's a deadbeat. And I know there are moms that are deadbeats, because I've been both. I've been the mom who just was living chaotic and wasn't making my oldest child, a priority. And so at that season of my life, some people would have called me a deadbeat. I knew my heart was in the right place, and I knew that God knew the nights I would cry myself to sleep. I was in an abusive marriage, and a lot of times I was so afraid. I mean, honestly, I've had stuff where my keys, my purse was thrown on the roof. And I know that may not be extreme to some people, but when you have someone with a knife in their hand and your key and your coat is on the roof, and he's punched you in your mouth before, and you're in this crazy place where he's not a priority, but your mind is in. I mean, no one understands the mind of a domestic violence victim. I'm sorry. Even people who think so. But back on track with what I was saying is, just coming to terms with forgiving yourself, because it's so easy for us as women, when we're hurt, when we're angry, to deflect. And when you think about a reflector vest, it's so that light will hit off of the object and give a mirror back to say, hey, I'm here. And in a sense, when you deflect, you do the same thing kind of in reverse. When something happens, instead of you internalizing it, making sense of it, processing it, dealing with it, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, and healing, instead, because of the anger and the emotions, not knowing how to make sense, how to process, how to handle that, it's easy to play the blame game. And you hear women say deadbeat, deadbeat, deadbeat. And there are some men who mislead you from the beginning. There's one thing when a man misleads you from the beginning. It's another thing when you see red flags, and it's almost like walking to the swamp and you see signs that say danger ahead, and yet in your mind you feel like you're Superwoman and you can tackle the world, and you end up walking into the swamp, and then when every alligator come to tack your tail up, then it's like but you can't do that because you saw danger ahead. And it's a blessing to come to terms with forgiving yourself versus me saying that Negro ain't no good, even if he's not. That Negro ain't no good. Because the reality is, you laid down with that person. There was something about that person that made you feel that I'm ready to take it there. Even if it wasn't okay, you took it there. And you took it there without protection. And if you did use protection and it popped, thank God you didn't have an abortion, because God obviously had a plan. There are no mistakes. God had a plan for your child. However, you still probably saw some things about this person that you should have thought differently. And I think as women, it's important for us to take ownership, because the reality is we cannot get healed. We cannot let go of the bitterness and anger until we confront what we did to make things the way they are. And the reason why I came to terms with that is because I've been the last couple of years in this torn place where I'm in corporate America, but my heart is to provide for my children. And every time they get called sick, I get a call they're sick, or a call that they don't have school today, or did you forget, or you sent them to after school and they don't have it. You deal with the struggle of it's all the weight is on me. And I got ready to be so angry at my kid's father, my ex-husband, and just kind of thinking, even my oldest son, thinking about his father and just having anger towards them, and they don't pay the child support and they don't do this. But the reality is how I should have been thinking, ladies, and I hope teenage moms, you're watching this, or a young lady's watching this that is with a John and feels like he has potential. Ask yourself, think hard, pray hard, and be honest. And if you can't be honest with yourself right now because you've got a soul tie, or your vision is cloudy or jaded, ask others, because people will be honest with you if you allow them to. We get mad at people, but the reality is people can help you if you're willing to take their truth. You have to ask yourself, is this the kind of role model I would want for my child 5 years from now? That's a hard one, right? If it's not someone who you can say will leave a legacy that can leave an impact in your kid's life, even if he has a BMW, even if he's at the top of his executive branch, even if he's at the top of his A game, if he's not dependable, if he's not reliable, or if he's not focused or committed, if he's not into you, if you can't count on a phone call, if he's not consistent, then let that go. If you've already made that mistake, let that go. But as you let it go, forgive. Forgive yourself first for being a poor judge of character, and forgive him for, and really, to be honest with you, this is a hard one, because you saw something in him that you felt would solve something within you. So really, even when you're forgiving him, don't do it for him. Don't do it for him, because you'll never forgive him. Because if you're struggling, if you're down and out, if your child has Down syndrome, if your child is sick, if you've been evicted, if you faced homelessness, if you're in the DSS line, EBT line, food stamp line, it's going to be hard to forgive him, because you're going to hold him hostage for what you had a partial play or hand in. So forgive him for the sake of, my anger or my resentment is holding me back from just being free. It's simply holding me back from being free. Just the freedom of knowing this Negro white, black, Puerto Rican, and Haitian. This Negro, because I call white people Negroes too, okay? Yes, I do. This Negro can't satisfy what I'm looking for. I need to be healed. If it takes you going on Ayanna Levant. I love her, but I can never pronounce her name. I have to look at it to pronounce it. If it takes you going on Oprah, I'll put it like that, because they're like this. If it takes you getting your life together or going to your pastor or going to therapy or going to a psychologist, whoever you need to speak to get healing, it's better for you to do that for yourself and to forgive yourself and him so that you can be free. Don't go on Facebook telling all your business about him and how he's a deadbeat and how he ain't paid child support. You make yourself look bad, because reality is, whether people tell you this or not, what they're thinking in the back of their mind, and I know because I've been on the receiving end and the dishing end, the giving end, and I'm ashamed to say it, but I have been. What people are thinking is, where was this anger and where was this he's such a bad dude when you were knocking boots with him? You can't tell me he just shocked you. We say that men shock us or women shock us, but the reality is we see stuff. We just have our blinders up because as women, God gave us a divine mandate to touch, to recover, to heal anything we handle. The problem with that is you cannot handle what is not yours to handle. In other words, you are responsible for you, and you're responsible to the world because God made you a part of this collective community. But you're not responsible for another person. There's books on it all over. I mean, you got Dr. Henry Cloud. You have, who else do I read about? Goodness, Dr. Henry Cloud, Les Brown, just so many people will talk to you. Dave Ramsey. What book am I reading? I can't remember the name of it, but I'm reading a book right now about time management, and it talks about even responsibilities and boundaries. You cannot change a man. God has given him the ability to have free will. Whether he chooses the right path or not is not your choice, it's his. So you are only responsible for you. So versus letting the world see you kind of point fingers and place blame and be angry after the fact, be proactive. Don't be reactive, be proactive. If you know you're dealing with these things, do what you need to do, but let go of the fact that this man is a deadbeat. Because if you chose him and his character is not up to par, it says a lot about your character. So what you can do is show the world that you've learned from your mistakes, and show your children that I apologize, I didn't choose the best candidate to be your father. I apologize that I didn't make the best choice and that I didn't think all the way through. But regardless, we're going to handle this. Regardless, we're going to deal with this. Regardless, I love you. Regardless, and don't talk bad about him in front of him. Because honestly, your kids will see for themselves in due time. If you protect the image of him in front of your kids, they'll remember that the rest of their lives. But if you, oh my gosh, this nigga is, boo boo honey child, when I get that child support check, wait till tax return time. Your kids are watching you, and what they're saying is, my mom is wilding, and what's good? And then it's making them constantly like this. Because when he gives you the check today, you're here and y'all get along. And then when he doesn't give you the check, you're here. And then your kids don't know. Should we respect dad? Should we love dad? Should we hate dad? I knew I was going to go over my time on this one. I didn't really care, because the reality is it needs to be addressed, especially in the African American community. And you know I'm about real talk. That's why I named my channel Get Right Nina. That's my time, guys. I don't want to talk forever, but women, be encouraged. Forgive. Stop saying deadbeat. Let it go. Forgive yourself. Forgive him. Be a role model for your kids and show them that you can forgive and you can make mistakes and own it. Take ownership and keep it moving. All right, guys. Love you. Pray for you. Subscribe, like, share, do what you need to do. Talk to you next time. Bye.